Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Saturn Return Diaries podcast. My name is Courtney. I'm your host. I'm holding this. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm holding the mic like a hello, everyone. What is up? Anyway, welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, hey, you can listen to us in all the podcast places. Maybe that's where you are. Or you can come over to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can see the conversations I have with guests. So it's just totally up to you, whatever your preference is. Let me put this mic down here. Lol. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to just pop in and do a little solo episode today. We are going to talk about the Bank of Saturn. Yep, the Bank of Saturn. You heard that right. The reason why I want to talk about this, well, because essentially there is this running theme that I'm noticing within people who are having their Saturn returns, who have had their Saturn returns, is that there's this karmic reward. And I love to rip on Saturn and tell everybody things that, we kind of need to know about in regards to Saturn. And a lot of it can come off as being really scary. And we don't want to do that to like fear monger. We got enough of that in the world. But we do want to talk about some of the things that Saturn has that is of benefit. So we're going to riff on that today. So, yeah, hello everyone. Welcome back, obviously, to the podcast. And if you haven't listened to the other episodes, I would recommend like going back to the beginning and maybe listening to at least what Saturn is. If you're just listening to this now and you don't know, it would be great to have that context. But basically I have been loving interviewing people and hearing what they've gone through in their Saturn returns. And every single time I listen to them, I get like a little dose of medicine and I'm like, oh, like I feel like when I ask them things like, what would you tell your younger self? I kind of feel like they're talking to me because I'm like in it. So, anyway, there's that. But yeah, let's just kind of dive into this little bit of a riff and we'll go from here. So, the Bank of Saturn. What do I mean by the Bank of Saturn? So, as you guys are aware, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, then you know that Saturn is very restrictive. And it does that in order to help you grow and evolve as a human. It asks you to do the hard work in your life, in your soul's your soul's contract to essentially move up to where you're meant to be. And not like move up in like a patriarchal way. I feel like that is a little bit like, I don't want to say it like that, but I do want to say it in a sense of like, for example, if you're climbing a gosh darn mountain, right? And if it's just easy the whole way up, sweet, right? Pretty sweet. But like, did you actually learn anything on that hike up, on that climb up the mountain? Like, whereas there's mountain hikes that are a little bit more challenging and they're a little bit more exciting because you might have certain aspects on that hike that you have to like use your body in a different way, and it's forcing you to get out of your mind and just have this leisurely relaxed walk, and instead you're gonna like actually have to like use your body in a new way and like test yourself and also challenge yourself. And as we know, through challenge you grow, right? That's Saturn. So the restrictedness of Saturn does feel hard. Like I'm totally in that right now, especially with Saturn being retrograde. I definitely feel like this part of my Saturn return is like, yo, you need to integrate. We're restricting you. You're not fully getting all of what you want right now because there's other pieces that you can't see yet that need to be put into place. And you need to learn the value of what's it called? Instant gratification. Saturn is like, yo, no instant gratification for you. Because it believes in a sense of like hard work pays off. Now, before I dive into this Bank of Saturn idea or concept, what I will say, and I want to kind of like back myself up on this, is I'm someone who has basically lived my whole life of that hard work is what makes me worthy. Hard work is what will get me to my goals. Like if I just work harder, if I just push a little bit more, then I'll get there. And while I think that that actually is a really good hang with me for a sec. I think it's a good quality to have as someone who is a hard worker, who's ambitious, who is driven, who has grit, who has gumption. Someone told me I had gumption once, and I was like, I don't even know what the frick that means, but I like it. I'll take it. And I think you can kind of combine them all together. Some of the people who Kobe Bryant's coming to mind right now, somebody who worked really hard within his career. You know, he dedicated his time to what he loved, to his craft. And that's what Saturn makes you do. Now, when I say hard work, I don't want that to come across as like, you must work, hustle all the time. Because I think as a society, we're changing that. And I know we are. But there is some elements to Saturn that kick in your Saturn return that are like, you gotta do this. So you can't give up. You're already on the mountain. You're not turning back. Sweetie. If you want the Bank of Saturn to give you your, rewards in the things that you've been climbing this freaking mountain for, then you gotta keep going. Now, those of you who are listening to this who have not been through your Saturn return yet, I can feel some of you being like, oh no, oh, and to that I say, yeah, feel that, feel what you got to feel. Remember, this isn't to fearmonger or make you scared in any way. It's to get you ready and empower you for what's going to come. Now, I am going to do an episode coming up around the Saturn signs. So if you haven't had your Saturn return yet, don't worry. I'm going to give you a little glimpse of what might come up for you during that in a different episodes. But today, let's talk about that Bank of Saturn. On one instance, I want to say, hey, your hard work is going to pay off, honey. That's what I want to say. Maybe that's Saturn speaking through me. But on some respect, it's true. Think in your life of all the times that you've done something that you thought was impossible. Okay. And we all have that in our lives. There's always something, whether it be, you're leaving home for the first time and moving away to school, right? Whether it be you're going on a trip for a month to another country that you never even thought you'd go on before. Whether it be getting into a relationship. Oh gosh, that brings up a whole so much stuff. And we do it. Maybe it's gone through a breakup. Oh my gosh. If you've ever been through a breakup, you know what I'm talking about. And majority of us have. When you seriously are like, I am never going to get through this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is impossible, regardless if it's something that you're considering negative or positive, you will get through it every single time. You get through it. And, the only times we don't is when we're giving up. So if it's a dream or a goal that you have, if we give up, obviously we're not going to make it there. So the time and energy and research and all the things that you do in order to reach that quote unquote destination, dream, goal, whatever it is that you're striving for, because as human beings, we do that. It does take your dedication. It does take your time. And that is Saturn. So, although at the time during your Saturn return, it might feel like you are not reaping the rewards. And that is semi-true. Depending on what's going on in your chart, there are parts of it that are essentially like, feeling like a dried up cobweb. Feeling like the old can in the back of the fridge and you can't get the lid open. You just want to open it. You just want the goodies and you can't get it, or you open it and it's dried fruit and you're like, oh my God, this is stale, whatever the heck. All right. Essentially, that can be what it feels like. Because what Saturn does is Saturn also rules karma, karmic rewards, karmic situations. So, if you're one of these people who is going through your Saturn return, has been through your Saturn return, you know what I'm talking about. You might not see it right away because your Saturn doesn't give instant gratification. That's Jupiter's job when it's working in its highest form. Saturn doesn't do that. Saturn makes you put in the time, commitment, energy to what it is you want. It will test you to say, do you want to do this? Do you trust yourself? Gosh, that's been a theme in these interviews. Do you trust yourself enough to, are you going to get stronger, more resilient in this journey of going for what it is that you want in your life? Now, does that mean you don't get to give up? I don't believe that. I think we can give up and we can get back on the horse. I think Saturn really, really collects this bank account, essentially. It's like the Saturn bank. Saturn's like, all right, let's all these manifestations, all these things that this person wants. If they do their Saturn, if they keep aligned with their Saturn in their chart and they do what Saturn's asking, oh, well, let's just put that in the bank. Let's just keep it in the bank. So when their Saturn return finishes, these rewards start to come in because they've shown their commitment to their soul's journey, path, evolution, and they kept going. Now, obviously, this Saturn energy is going to be different for everyone. I'll give you guys an example. My Saturn's in the 12th house. It's actually cusp. I've said this before. It is at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So those are the only times I believe in cusps, by the way, is when they're on the 0 degree mark. And I believe for me, there's been a bit of energy in there in regards to the Capricorn Saturn return and also the Aquarius one. So it's a bit long for me personally, but that's okay. And we know that the 12th house has a lot to do with spirituality, right? We know that Aquarius is progressive, it's innovative, it's different. And we know that Saturn is about creating a new structure, systems in our world. So, I'm going to let you guys tune in on that one and feel free to come over to Instagram and let me know what you think. But am I someone who's doing my Saturn? I truly believe I am with that information I just gave you. You can also look at what I've been creating. Does it mean I'm reaping the rewards right away? No, because I'm building a new system for myself to live off of. In so many respects, not even just financially, but who am I from an identity point of view? Who are my friends? Who are the people that I can connect with? Where do I want to live? All of these Saturn questions. So Saturn does rule karma. And I wanted to make sure I did a video and podcast episode on this because I think it's really important. Yes, Saturn feels restrictive. Yes, Saturn makes us put in the time and effort and hard work. Yes, it can feel exhausting. Yes, it's a climb up the mountain. But yes, it also brings rewards. Look at our past guests that I've had on this podcast. Look to see, actually, even people in your own life, ask them if they've been through a Saturn return. Look at what happened after. I'm going to give a big old shout out to our first guest we had on this podcast, Steph. Hey girl, if you're listening, you as if I'm like talking to Steph right now. Hey. Steph shared her journey of her Saturn return. And, she had to have a lot of faith and trust and followed this like path that was very different from what she, was living. But she just trusted and had to believe and follow her soul essentially. And, obviously Steph shows her parts of her life on Instagram. She also shared in the podcast episode about the difference of her life now compared to then. And you can see these rewards that came in that maybe she wasn't even aware of. Like, she has a dog now. Like, maybe that wasn't even on her radar, when she was moving through this. Bri, who was on the podcast, same thing. She said, she's like, her life feels so different now than it did then. Like, she has a child, and she's even stated in that podcast episode that was such a big bridge to these rewards or the life that she's living now. So the Bank of Saturn, when you're in your Saturn return, you're going to collect this stuff. Does that mean that nothing's ever going to come through to you during that time? No. Okay. There will still be stuff that comes through to you. And I think it's the propellers, it's the stepping stones to help you get to where you are. Remember, Big Daddy Saturn. I don't know about you guys, but like the father figure of Saturn to me was very like, if you do your chores, then you get this. That's Saturn's job. So you can even look in the collective. This is the last thing I'll say on that. Look in the collective right now. Where are we being restricted? Where are we being asked to go the long haul, the distance? Interesting. Just something to think about. Anyhow, my friends, I will leave it there, okay? I just wanted to insert this and remind everyone that, and myself, that Saturn is a karmic planet. So the karma does come. This can be good. This can be, I don't even want to label things good or bad, but I think the more you listen to the signs from Saturn and the universe, the more you do the hard shit that people don't want to do often because it's uncomfortable. The more you collect this like money in the bank from Saturn to give you when you're out of your Saturn return. So I will leave you guys on that note. And yeah, that is what we'll say about that. So come over to Instagram, say hey at Saturn Return Diaries. If there's anything that you want to chat about, learn about in regards to Saturn, please come let me know. I'd love to pick your brain for some ideas. I'm super excited because there is a few more episodes that we're going to have coming up around interviews for people. And then in December, we're going to go on a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back in January swinging. Okay, I hope you got it. We'll be coming back swinging. So yes, and as always, I will be reaching out to people who are going to come on the podcast. So if I've talked to you, please know that I'm going to have you on eventually. It's just all divine timing. So yeah, we will leave it there. Come say hey at Saturn Return Diaries. Book a reading if you want to get an astrology reading. I have those. Find me in all the places that I've located in the show notes or description bar. Come over to YouTube, hit subscribe, do all the things because I love connecting with y'all. Anywho, let's leave it there. I'll see you in the next episode. Talk to you in the next episode. And yeah, don't forget, Saturn's always, do I say listening or watching? Saturn's always listening and probably watching. He is legit like Santa. Odd. Anyway, okay, I'm going to go. I will see you guys in our next episode. Bye.